We are going to continue with the next talk. Improving search experiences means listening to our users. And now I'm excited to welcome Aruna on stage from AWS OpenSearch. Having worked on search relevance and data analysis challenges, she's the perfect person to answer the question how we can capture user behavior data and how we can leverage that to continuously improve search experiences. So Aruna, please take it away.
Well, to be introduced by the team who actually were the co-developers of this plugin, I'm quite honored. So most of the questions Daniel will help answering as well. 2 years ago, when I was at Haystack, I actually presented a lightning talk on user behavior insights. Not really user behavior insights, but how do you capture, what to capture, why to capture, and what you can do with what you have captured. So now that it's materializing, I'm pretty excited with this topic as well. So again, I'm Aruna Govindaraju. I come with many, many years of experience with search. And I know many people in this conference for many, many years. Awesome to work with. Some of the things that I've worked with specifically is, I started my career with Inktomi UltraSeek. If you have ever had a chance to look at it, it's probably the grandmother of any legacy products that you're working right now with. And all my years of search experience with search, I worked primarily on migrations. Go from product A to product B, and every time I move applications across, one of the main issues that come with why is this search engine giving me this results? Why is this giving me results? And an ability or a requirement to compare these two together. And again, as and when the data grows, because over years there is like zillion. Previously, as per the online metrics, if you see, the retail data has exploded, and the kind of catalogs that we are looking at is almost 10 times bigger than what it used to be. And as these catalogs grows and as these products evolve, the relevancy decreases because you're now looking at more and more data which is coming into your system, but you're actually fine-tune your system for what it used to be. So it's not like a one solution that is working for all kinds of data and it's working forever. So as and when data is evolving, search becomes poor and more issues related to lack of findability comes. So this is the last, almost the last but one presentation. So I don't want to talk a lot, but rather give you some fun stuff to think through. So I included some memes, which I thought you would enjoy here as well. So how many of you have actually seen your customers complain or, search sucks, right? Yeah, search sucks, right? So we come across a situation, either this is a customer that is complaining to you or you yourself have been in the situation where you think, oh, you know what, why can't it just give me the product that I'm looking for? And yesterday, whoever was in the search talk, right? One of the examples that we heard from during the human judgment was boxer climbing rocks to escape from the future. What is the movie that is? We can't even do human rating there in that particular case. So, this one I checked even today. This is how it works. What are we even trying to improve here, right? How do we know what to improve? Why certain things are searched like the way they are searched, right? And as and when over the years, I've been doing this for many, many years, and every time it's like start from scratch, start from square zero, actually, where we try to tell the companies that we work with, what is your customer? What is your kind of catalog that you have? What is the kind of data that you have? What are your customers actually searching for? And there is no feedback loop that these organizations actually collect to understand how to go forward and improve their search applications or their search system. So these are all the common issues. And one of the common mistakes that we look, I mean, immediately we want to fix the search issue, right? The first step is like, okay, let's fix it. Let's do some quick fix. There is these 5 search terms that I've got. Let's start fixing for these 5 search terms. And then what about the remaining 100 or the remaining 1,000, right? It breaks for a whole bunch of things. So companies end up fine-tuning search for a specific user query or a specific catalog that they want to boost, or a specific brand that they are partial towards, and they end up losing the overall context of their search. How their user base is, what kind of user, where are they searching from, what kind of users they are, right? If it's a logged in user, they have certain preferences, that's an added advantage. But then once you have the preference in place, are you using it to do what you want to do? Many companies today, though, do not. And I was surprised. Like 2-3 years ago, I was talking to a customer who was looking at improving their search, and they came and said, oh, our search is very bad. We are not making enough conversions, and we think our online conversion rate is pretty low. I mean, the amount of they generate more revenue from just their brand as compared to the revenue from their stores, live stores, as compared to their online stores. So they are like, okay, what's going on? We invest so much. We are spending millions on the search application. What's wrong, right? And I asked them, so what is the kind of search that you're looking for? You know what? We've collect these metrics, and we've got all these top 100 queries. Okay, so what are you doing with them? They said, we try to create landing pages. If this is the query, this is the page you've got to go. I'm like, do you do any further analysis? And they don't. And this is something that I worked with like 15 years ago when I was working with ultrasig inktomy, and it continues into the 21st century too, and we are looking at the same problem. And we wonder what's going on. Why is this a huge gap? And why is there is no proper framework to convert all of the things that we gather from our users and make it a more useful thing to improve our search and boost our conversions. Again, there was a gentleman yesterday who commented saying, oh, this all works for retail, but when it comes to information, it does not. Yes, of course, when we talk about boosting conversions, it's money, 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 and we talk retail all the time. But when it comes to information, knowledge repositories, library systems, yes, they have its own elephant in the closet, and it has its own metric. And identifying what metric that works for you, again, is something that you need to glean from your users. What are the users that, how are your users searching it, and what your users are searching for, and what is the exact document or information that's been rated, say, by an expert that this particular user, the other user might. So collaboration filtering, right? People who were there on Trey's presentation yesterday, he was talking a lot about collaboration filtering, where, user who rated this, you might be interested in this. So that kind of an user experience, how do we bring that into search, is another main thing that I think today we are missing as well. So great searches or just guesses. I once worked with a company a couple of years before who said, oh, you know what, we boost our results. What do? Every Friday we get a new bunch of search results, which my data scientist goes and he runs his program, and he gives us a magic number, and we boost our title by 1.32. I said, okay, why not 1.34? They said that magic number did not come from the data scientist. So, and every week they have a new set of catalog, and they do this over and over again. Right? And it's like they don't have a clear path to what is the right way to do it. And when they do that 1.32, the reason they do it every Friday is because they get a new batch of data, and that knocks off their previous relevance. So their search, which they improved week 1, does not work on week 2. So it was pretty chaotic. And their solution, they had 2 solutions actually. One, let's do vector search. That was the first solution. Let's put a model in front of it, and it will clear all this chaos. And number two, let's move to a different search engine. We don't like this. Okay, let's go to another one. I said you're just taking one crap and moving to another crap. The crap still exists. Excuse my term. So what does search really needs, right? So this, I gave this lightning talk in 2023, and there was many discussions around user signals. They were like conference talk. We reached out to customers. We pitched in the idea. There was an RFC that was floated, and our partners, I'm part of AWS, and we partner with Open Source Connections, and Open Source Connections hosted this meeting where we also spoke to other Haystack visitors, and we tried to understand what are the top needs of search, right? Some of the blues are actually the highest voted features that we got. One was, we need a standardized schema. No matter what products we use, the ability to grab the user metrics to still remain the same. That was one. A framework. Tell us how to do things. If there is a framework, we have a mental model of how to capture user metrics and then move that into our search application, no matter what search application you're working with, right? And logging. There was all kind of chaotic logging. People at one point in time, I was talking to customers, they said, oh, we've got like 2 million records. Like, what are you logging? They said, I'm not even sure. We need to go back and look at what we are logging, but we are paying a lot for our commercial product. So how long do you hold on to? We hold on to like 90 days. 90 days of all this incoming streaming data, which they've distributed their client-side tags, the tags that capture user behavior and user metrics on your website, to every other application developer in your company. And end of the day, you have a whole bunch of metrics in your commercial products, which you have no clue how to leverage, specifically for search. So what needs to be logged, and capturing, how do we correlate? So I have this particular conversion. A user purchased this particular product. Now, where did he start? What query did he search for? What did he click on? What was the facets he used? So how do we grab all of that? An ability to trace or correlate all this information has become critical. That was one of the requirements. And again, the analysis side of it, right? You grab all of this information. Finally, you don't know how to analyze. It goes wasted. So again, looking at the metrics and grabbing the top 5 metrics that you definitely need to take a look at, right? Those are the critical directions that some of our customers and people who provided feedback. So thanks to all of you who gave that feedback. That's how this evolved, right? And again, finally, you grab all of this. Everybody started building. So this presentation, we are towards the end. We have at least 3 or 4 presentations today that happened, which talked about building their own, say, persona-based relevancy boosting, or identifying a need for multimodal, or LLM-based judgment. All of this is good. They are all great talks. But the core underlying concept that resides beneath all of these applications and the use cases is what you collect and how you convert. So with that, we launched the user behavior insights late last year, with this being a core goal. So there were like 4 specific goals, right? So one is to deliver a client-side instrumentation, which is agnostic of the kind of platform you're working on. So the UBI works with any kind of search engine because it's purely based upon how you want to orchestrate your front end, and all the capturing the queries, they are all JSON based, so it's agnostic of what search applications you're integrating with. For all you know, you can just dump it in a folder or an S3 bucket, and you could create your own dashboards, or you can use your own analysis tool. Second is collecting, and a need for collecting all the systems. So all of this has to go somewhere. So UBI provides the connector for collecting, and it provides a certain kind of destination sources, like OpenSearch is one. I think we support Solar, and we support S3. There are the bunch of destination sources that UBI supports today, but I'm sure that can be extended to any sources in the future as per your requirement. And then build. right? Like I said, many of our customers knew what that they need to collect, that they are collecting, and then what needs to be visualized or what needs to be defined, what needs to be converted into some viable use case, right? So those come from the third goal of UBI, which was built. So UBI comes packaged with its own set of dashboards, so that there is a set of dashboards, visualizations that it comes packaged with. So as soon as you collect, you can quickly go and look at what metrics it's going to generate. But these are all configurable, changeable. So today I will also show you how this is set up, how this would, how you can go and change something which comes as a default. And the underlying concept across all of this, right? You're instrumenting in the front end, and you're collecting, and you're sending to a specific destination, and you're building these dashboards. So the underlying foundation of all of this is the standard schema that's defined. The schema is yes, there are few must-have fields, like say for example query ID, where you know from your front end, if you're capturing some user metrics, what queries that was fired by the user, which relates to your conversion. So there is a query ID which allows you to correlate multiple events across your website, and eventually leads to, from the user went from A to Z, and between that he did so many other events, he triggered other events, but then finally he bought the product, and that's the conversion that you're looking at. So and you need an ability to correlate, and so there are some mandatory fields that you need to ensure that correlation is possible. But apart from that, it's like an open schema. Like you can actually add your additional fields, whatever. So today I will also show how I've modified some of the default schema. I've added my own to my requirement, and I built my dashboards as well. So at a high level, this is the architecture of UBI, where you have three parts to it. One is the source, that's your client, where that's your browser, your client application, your JavaScript, where you have to plan your orchestration. You have to tag the right components on your UI, right? So for example, the other customer I was working with, the one with the 1.32 relevancy score, right? Who multiplied that. So the one thing, when we took a look at their queries at some point in time, we found that most of their queries were brand, like Nike, Dior, Under Armour, right? And I was like, why is the users not even using the facets, the left navigation facets? And we realized from their metrics that the facets were not being clicked, the brand facets were not being clicked. And one of the reasons why the brand facet was not being clicked was because that was fourth or fifth on the row. So it requires you to scroll to actually find the facet. So not many users took the pains to scroll down the facet navigation and find the brand facet. So we moved the facets from brand facet from position number 4 on the left nav to position number 1. And that improved their search to a larger extent than multiplying the title and the brand field by 1.32. So that's important. So what you're going to instrument on your front end is very important to capture the right metric. So if you're retail, you capture accordingly. Your information systems, you capture accordingly. Information system, there's lots goes into it, not just facets. You might have tabs. I've seen many information systems which got multiple tabs. And you have expert ratings. That's an important metric that you need to capture. So some of these metrics are very, very unique to the kind of use cases that you're serving, or the use cases that you're discussing with your customers. And then once you instrument, the UBI, what it does, it leverages the open source data prepper. That's an ingestion pipeline. And it provides an HTTP source endpoint to which you can write to. So all of these JavaScript metric that you're sending to your destination, you can write it out through the open source data prepper. And once data prepper gets it, there's a whole bunch of destination that data prepper supports. It supports the open source, OpenSearch, and the OpenSearch service, S3 buckets, and of course it also supports DynamoDB. And currently it has a set of locations that it supports. Of course, depending upon where you want to send it, we can configure that as well. And then once it supports, once all of the data is grabbed into the destination, UBI also generates the dashboards on the fly. Some of the visualizations come out of the box, some you can create your own. So setting up the UBI plugin, I've been asked this question a lot before. How do we set it up, right? So there are 4 steps to setting this up. So one, you install the plugin, the UBI plugin. So this plugin will go ahead and create the 2 important indices, the UBI queries and the UBI indices. And yeah, once you initialize that, so there is a install and an initialize that has to happen. And then once you are ready to tag your JavaScripts, you have to instrument what needs to go into your these indices. So UBI queries, as you can see, I will also show you the schema. UBI queries has a certain way of sending queries to OpenSearch, and then there is UBI events, which is like more freestyle, because we want to capture as many events as possible. And the 4th one is, if you need the dashboards, again, that's completely optional. You have to install the dashboards so that it renders the required visualizations out of the box. So this is at a quick introduction to the UBI schema. Am I pointing? So we have the query index, and the ones in blues are mandatory fields, and there is a specific data type where we capture the query ID. Like I said, it's required for correlations. And then there is a query where what query the user is typing. And then user query, again, this is probably a repeat, but then this user query goes through your events as well. So we can even look at user query is more like, this query is more like what the user actually typed, while the user query is the complete OpenSearch DSL query that we stuffed that here. So we know how the query was designed for this particular user, what query went to OpenSearch. So say, for example, if you want to know if there was a synonym which was triggered, or there was a KNN query that was fired, or there was a similarity search that was sent, then this is a good way to troubleshoot. Again, this is something that you can send as an empty if you don't want to track it, but otherwise this is available for you to stuff the entire OpenSearch DSL query. And this is the, again, this is a sample from the UBI query index. And then moving on. Yeah, so this is the second index that UBI creates, which is the UBI events. Again, the action name, what click event the user is doing. Is it a search, or is it a add to cart, or it's a facet click? So what is that they are doing, right? So the action name captures that, and the timestamp is very important, because this allows you to see what is the latest set of events that has happened, and also tries to scope your complete event into a single period, right? Say, for example, your customer is doing a search today, but he's buying tomorrow. The timestamp is a good view of what is the user did, when did the user actually looked at the product, but when did the actual conversion happen. So this is a sample query that I've given, wherein this is how you would instrument. So if you're sending it from the front end, your search query, on your search query there is an additional ext tag and an UBI tag, which allows you to say what that this particular piece of data is going to go into your UBI index, UBI queries index, while this is the actual query that is fired against your search index. And the same goes with events. As you see, events, we don't have anything specific to ext because it's, again, freestyle. You can send all your events. The message, I love the message, which allows you to capture, if you say, for example, I would like to capture a synonym being clicked, but that's not a regular click that I would track on an organic result. So there is a synonym click, or there is a sponsored link which was clicked. So message is a good way to track all of that. And all of this metrics comes hand in hand. Yeah, all of these metrics, like say idle timeout, current time. And so these are all some of the metrics that you can, I mean, this is a good metric if you want to track, like, what is my drop rate, right? A customer is searching and he's doing a specific event, he's not finding the result, and then he closes the browser. So this will give you a good insight if there is a search that's been dropped. So here is a demo. So today I'm using a Chorus application just because I need the front-end instrumentation. The Chorus application is, again, open source, built by the Open Source Connections team, and it comes pre-integrated with OpenSearch. So I'm going to show some live demo here. So I've actually deployed it on the cloud. It comes with Docker, so I don't have enough space to run a Docker, so I have put that on the cloud, but you can easily download the Docker and you have that installed in your own setup as well. So if I go here, you're still on my presentation. How do I share my... Looks like my entire screen is not shared. How do I share my... I didn't realize it's still on the PPT. You can just share my entire screen. That's fine, so that you don't have to come back for the PPT. All right? No? Should I close that? Yeah. This is here, yeah. Oh, yeah, all right. Yeah, thank you. So, I'm on the cloud, and I've set up my Docker here. So I will just quickly show. This is the Chorus application that comes integrated with UBI, and it syncs into OpenSearch, which is also an open source OpenSearch, which runs in the same machine as this. So it's as easy as, say, for example, if I were to show you how this has to be done. I'm signed out. Thank you. So I can... I'm just going to quickly show so this is as easy as just launching and having all the entire setup, the UBI setup, the Chorus application, the open source OpenSearch, the data prepper, all of that integrated and running on the local Docker. So that's what this particular CloudFormation template does. It deploys, it just creates an EC2 instance, a server in which all of this, the entire stack is deployed. While that is happening, I can show you, once that's deployed, you would have, yeah, so I'm going back to my instance, and I'm connecting, and so I have these applications up and running. So I have my Chorus application, I have my data prepper, I have my OpenSearch dashboards to see the visualizations, and of course there are other products which is also in development, which also gets installed, but we will not worry about that. So once that is done, let's look at what we have as part of the schema. So I think I have that here. So this is my server. So there are two indices that gets created. I hope this is big enough. So I have the UBI events and the UBI query. And of course, since I installed the Chorus application, it comes with the e-commerce index, which serves all the product catalog. Let's quickly look at the query mapping. So these are all the schema that gets created for UBI queries. And as you can see, this query attribute is a flat object. So query attribute is where you can create your own custom fields, custom tags that you want to track. And you can take the entire JSON and stuff that into query attributes. And again, user query is the query that it's the DSL query that you send across. And UBI events is which tracks the events. Again, UBI attributes. As you can see, some of this is the event attribute. Again, it's if you want to track more than, if you want to track other events which is not already tracked, right? Then this is a good place to start. And let's look at what we are tracking today in terms of UBI events. So these are all some of the impressions. I've used the filters and add to cart. So these are all the default actions that is tracked by the UBI project. Again, like I said, it really depends on how we are orchestrating the front end. We will also look at how we did that. So we have two JS files. So if you go to the Chorus application, so we have the app.js. This is the front-end JS, which is the JS which captures all the required metrics. And this is where we define what metrics that you would like to capture. So if I were to take a look at, so I have an add to cart. If I find it, yeah, there it is. So we have an add to cart function where we want to know what are all the query, what's the query ID, what's the client ID, what's the item that's been added to cart, and what's the position of that particular item that I want to add, and of course lat long, right? This is the new one. I mean, this doesn't come out of the box. I've modified the app.js to also capture the end user lat long. Of course, some might argue, can we do that? Of course, you have to allow your users to allow capturing the geolocations. So make sure that that particular check is there. And once you capture the lat long, I can also show you what kind of changes you can do. So the default installations that of UBI does not come with the lat long. So it just comes with the query ID and the item and the title ordinal. But you can go ahead and modify to the way that you want to instrument your JavaScript. So this internally uses this. So this is add to cart. So you will see all the actions, impressions, queries that we are capturing as part of this particular app.js, and this submits to the UBI JS file. Let's move to UBI. So the UBI JS file is the one which captures the event from the app.js, and it sends the request, it writes it out to the data prepper HTTP source endpoint. So this particular demo you wouldn't probably see in all the UBI presentation in the past, but we've got feedback from all the many attendees from Haystack that they want to see how to set this up, where to go and modify the code, how to modify the code, how to capture this. So we have a sample reference application that you can go back. That's the Chorus. Again, it's just open source. I would say use it with a pinch of salt. Don't take whatever that is clocked in Chorus as it is, but make sure you instrument to whatever you need, whatever requirements you need. So moving back, so that's pretty much it. And here, what was the other thing that I wanted to show? Yeah, action names. Yeah. So, and as you can see, so these are all the actions that we capture. And here, the queries and the number of times the queries were fired or the queries were used, right? So these are all some of the queries that was fired. And yesterday, whoever were in Trey's workshop, we spoke about how you capture queries and the number of times the queries are fired, and how do we improve your search based upon the count of queries that are fired. So I think this is a very good metric that relates to how we want to capture and then use that to improve your search. Okay. All right. Okay. So let me quickly go to the dashboard because I'm running out of time. So this is the default dashboard on OpenSearch that's created. This is captured. I'm on Chorus application. This is captured from various searches that I do on Chorus. This metric, all of this, the add to cart and the facets, they are all tagged with relevant UBI metrics. So if I look at some of this, I'm going to do the OpenSearch. What do I do? Kids. And then I'm going to clear that up. And I'm going to like add to cart. And if I look at that, and then you can look at the request, which sends all of this UBI metrics to the backend, including the query ID. So we do have, this is running on my local, but we do have the Chorus application up and running somewhere. Yeah, that's it. Yeah. So we do have the Chorus application, which is open source, which is, you can go try. It's a playground. I need to change the port. Eric, feel free to correct me here. Yeah, 3,000. Yeah. Yeah, but you can look at the search queries too, because that port is also open for you. So you can take a look at that. So now I'm going to like edit. So this is a default dashboard. I'm going to just edit, and I'm going to create a new, just because I have added lat long to my, I'm just going to go and click on unique fields, use my location, add geo coordinates, and I'm going to do that and update, and voila. So you now can modify your existing dashboards and also add any visualization of your preference here as well. So I'm going to quickly skip a few. So you have your default dashboards. You have added the lat long, which basically tells you how many users, what users, where are they searching from, and where the maximum searches are coming from. So I based it on a count. So as you can see, we've got high search requests coming in from Europe and East Coast. East Coast is probably me, and then rest of the world. Okay, this goes back. Now we go back to the presentation, and I have to now hurry up. And we saw some of that. Okay, so now what, right? So now you have all of this UBI data, and now what? What do we want to do with it, and what's going on with the UBI project, right? These were all some of the use cases that were identified when the UBI project kicked off. And again, this is like feedback from customers saying we want to use this data for personalization. We want to do user segments, again, geolocations. You want to again, create the knowledge gap, what they are searching for, and versus what's there in my catalog. And of course, if my search is poor, do I want to do a migration, right? Those are some of the things. And you saw this this particular architecture in my previous slide, which basically talks about the UBI architecture, right? And now with that, we are currently in progress. We are also in the process of developing the search quality workbench, which allows you, which consumes the UBI metric, right? UBI data. So we've got the top queries and the bunch of events, user clicks, the CTRs in the UBI. Now what do we do with it? We take these we take this information, the raw data, and we leverage to build the search quality evaluation work and the relevance workbench, right? Where there are three things which comes as an output from the from this. So you want to look at it. You want three things, right? for what particular query, what are the popular queries, number one, and what is the judgment list, right? I need a judgment list. I need to know how to rank my results. And the third is search metric, right? What should be my search metric? What should be my top 10? What should be my recall? Should be my precision? And then a specific measuring strategy, right? The NDCG or the DCG that we've been hearing so much about. So that's this project, and I've given the QR code. It's already in progress, and we have a integration with OpenSearch, so you will see this as part of the OpenSearch dashboard. And again, this particular search quality workbench will also allow you to include the human annotations, which also adds to the explicit feedback or explicit judgment. So this is a second reference architecture where you've got the search quality workbench, and you've got the UBI integrated with search quality workbench, you've got the human in the loop, and you've got the human judgments as well. Now what do we do with this, right? So there are 3 specific metrics that we collect from the search quality workbench, which is the top queries, the judgment list, and again the search quality metrics. And this is getting fed to what the new project, which is called the hybrid search optimizer. That's again project underway. There is a QR code. We welcome your feedback and your contribution. And this search optimizer, the ultimate goal is there an automated way to move the needle, between lexical and semantic? How do we score lexical? How do we score semantic search? How do we normalize the scores between lexical and semantic search automatically using all of that we grab from UBI? 2 minutes, okay. So now we've got the hybrid search in place. So currently, whatever metric we are grabbing, we are using, that's being used to build the hybrid search optimizer. But really, you can use that for any learning to boost model that you are working on. Meaning this is just going to provide you a bunch of weighted queries, and you can grab the weighted queries to boost your search results, which is again the popular model is the LTB model or the learning to boost model. The second use case, which it's good to have, I hope somebody is working on it, is an ability to feed all of these metrics to learning to rank model and improve learning to rank results, right? The re-ranking results. So leverage all your UBI metrics for re-ranking purposes. Of course, I put the Amazon personalize also here. Yes, that is possible, where you can move all of the data collected and you can leverage it to get personalized results as well. Right? Imagine I'm from Boston and I'm searching for a pair of shoes or a dress shoe, or it's a prom night. I'm not searching for prom night, but say for my daughter is searching for a prom night shoes. But eventually, I would want what I'm searching for shown to me, right? And I think that's the ultimate goal. And you've seen this virtuous cycle. Anyone who's coming again to Haystack, or you visited the OpenSearch Con or the MICES, you would have seen the virtuous circle where you understand your search system, measure your search, and then tune. And that doesn't stop there, right? It's continuous process improvement. Your data is not stagnant. Your data is going to always grow. But an ability to bring all that fine tuning and again do the search processing again, collect and measure and then search. This virtuous circle. You go back to YouTube, you will see this in every other presentations that we've presented about UBI. And what's interesting, this Haystack, is that we've delivered. Some of this has been delivered by the OpenSearch community, by open source connections in partnership. And as you can see, the UBI is delivered, and all the yellow ticks is work in progress. And we will soon have the online evaluation, the results eyeballing, where you compare 2 results from 2 different systems, and you will have an ability to say, okay, this is better than this. And then you can bring human in the loop to boost certain results, and again, you can go and compare again. So they're all great projects that you can take a look at. of course, offline evaluation, and then the search metrics that I just showed you based off of NDCG. Again, learning to rank. We have a thought that we need to bring all of this and boost and improve LTR. So it's just an idea now. You will see the community coming up with the RFC soon. With that, I hope once you grab your UBI, you know exactly what you're looking for. So thank you.
Thank you, Aruna. So I guess we have time for maybe one quick question. Is there anyone in the audience who wants to ask? Yes.
David, you were supposed to be on my side.
No, so I wanted to ask, at the very beginning, you talked about the span of a query and this query ID, and I wanted to know if you had any advice for like, when do you generate that ID? Because, you know, you might go back and modify a query. Do you recreate the query ID?
Yeah.
How long does that query go? And like, how do you measure that destination?
Very good question. I think that really, again, depends on your application. Like I've seen some application which is like clocking, they have an autocomplete and they're clocking every letter that's been posted, which is not advised. I mean, you want to know what the user is finally searching for. So if they are searching for like blue shoe, you know it's going to spell BLUE. You don't have to like clock it. Sometimes this can really get overwhelming if you're like, if you're clocking too many things. So identify this query ID. Query ID is specifically from where it started, right? What query actually is started. Some of my customers that I work with, some of the customers I work with, they don't even query. They actually just facet. They are retailers. They have a main category, subcategory, and they all go in as queries. It goes as like say for a women is a parent category, and the subcategory will be like clothing, and then there is a subcategory which says shirts or skirts. So there are a lot of, right, and each of them actually go in as a query. And then after that, once that query is clocked and you've generated that ID identifying, okay, my facet click, my users are clicking more of the facets, and I want to capture them as a query. Once you've generated that query, you want to make sure that you send those queries to every event that the user is doing. So you might want to, and every event, it is important. You cannot say, I'm not going to track a click with this particular query, because if you're looking at a specific, say for example, the user is looking at top 5, they're clicking at number 1 and number 3, and then they are purchasing number 3. You want to know that the 2 is irrelevant and the 3 is more relevant than 1, right? So capturing that scenario and correlating your user behavior is an important factor to actually make proper sense out of your conversions. Otherwise, there will be one black hole in between. You will not know, okay, what happened here? No idea. And some of the things, I'm not sure, maybe I also need to look at some of the things is, once the user drops off and comes back, the same user query ID needs to be generated, so that the same user might come back and look at the third result and buy it then. I'm that user, by the way. I don't buy the same day. I think on it, I sleep on it, and then I come back and buy the next day. So I think that needs to again map to the same query ID. And that's when that importance. And it's really depends on the kind of search that you would develop. For example, I worked with a life sciences company. Their top query is part number or a study ID. Right? So when you have an exact term, why do you even do full text search, right? So I think those are some of the decisions that you can take looking at query ID, looking at queries. Those are all the decisions that you would help make.
A question thoroughly answered. Yeah. So thanks, Aruna.
Yeah.
We'll